Alrighty.
Hi, everyone.
I don't
Here
know if
we
that
are.
was I don't know if that was a piece of dust or if that was an orb, but that's really curious.
Oh, wow. Already.
I know already, right? Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Welcome.
This is exciting, Debbie.
It really is. And I am so excited. I mean, I have so many feelings about it. Like it's, and when we say excited, it's not like, woohoo.
Yeah.
It's like, this is something is happening here. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we are doing is introducing a new conversation, and we have called it the missing. And what we are going to be focusing on is people that have gone missing and or have been murdered, and the cases are still unsolved. And so we do want to preface with, if this is too much for some people to tune into, then we understand. But this conversation is really important. And I think the excitement is an energy that in no way is it a celebration, but it's a remembering, it's a telling of the story where people have experienced one of, I think, Earth School's most horrible experiences of having their free will taken from them. And so there's this call, and Debbie and I came together and started the conversation and didn't really know what direction it was going to take, how we were going to approach it. And Spirit stepped in, and Debbie and I's trust in that we followed. And so delicately we will be in the conversation and mindful of these are real people. And so the focus where we will start is the crisis, right, Debbie? The crisis around Indigenous people that are disappearing by the hand of someone else. And so in that injustice, we come to share parts of their story in honor of who they are. And so here we are.
Yeah. And when we were in discussion, you guys, wanting to be delicate in because of the grief and the trauma and everything that kind of wraps up with anybody that's gone missing or any unsolved murders, any of those things. And so there will be times in our discussions that it may be hard.
Yeah.
So we just also want you to be aware of that. But we will try to be delicate, but this fucking isn't delicate.
Yeah.
This is hard stuff, and it is horrible, and it is happening. And so so there's a line, there's kind of like a balance there of bringing through what is happening to trying to be delicate about it, because it's hard to hear.
Yeah.
It is hard, and it is happening. So we can't be too Pollyanna about it. So if this is going to be hard, or if it's going to be triggering to you, then yeah, like Kevin said, this might not be the show for you, or the discussion to join in on.
Yeah.
But very interesting about this, Kevin, our beginning was kind of like we were sitting like, where do we begin?
Yeah.
And someone came in.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you,
It was
want to?
powerful. Yeah. I mean, let's just, how it unfolded was
Okay.
exactly that. And this is new to both of us in the sense of doing this in a way that It's public, and both of us have worked on cases privately, and in that, obviously the respect goes with the private aspects of this, and so things that we will be sharing is public. And so from the information that we gathered, we were inquiring where would we start. And so we had a conversation through Zoom, and near the end of it went, oh, so how are we going to choose the people? And I'm busy talking away, and I'm writing going, oh, why don't we kind of Google and find 10 people, and then we'll kind of maybe just spirit up. And Debbie,
And
pause.
yeah, I mean, I'm sitting, I was drawn into the in between, how I do. And a, a girl came forward and she said, my name is Caitlin. I'm Caitlin. And I'm like, Kevin, I'm getting, Caitlin is here. Caitlin. And
Full body chills.
I mean,
Body chills.
I
I
can't
felt
even
it.
recognize. Yeah.
And in that, I heard Wisconsin. So we hear Caitlin and Wisconsin, and onto Google we went, and instantly the first picture that came up was of a young Indigenous girl, 22 years old. And so 22 is a number that stands out for me. So we just kept getting these layers of, wow, she's stepping forward. And in that, we feel that she's choosing us in some respect. And so it unfolded from there, and here we are. Here we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. And so we are going to share her story. We want to honor her and share her story. And then she has other information to bring in regards to that. And so do you want to share her story a little bit? Yeah.
So this beautiful young soul of 22 years, Caitlin Kelly, was living on the Menominee Reservation in Wisconsin. A young mother vanished between, let me just pause, sorry. Oh, June 16th. On June 16th, vanished somewhere between County Highway and Silver Canoe Road. She was last seen on a security camera that captured her leaving the reservation, and some say that she was catching a ride back to her house in Shawano, about 8 miles away. She made it home, and she made a Facebook post that evening mentioning that there was some unknown black SUV parked outside her apartment. The following day, when family or friends had reached out, she didn't respond. And so her mother, Michelle Maureen, called the Menominee Tribal Police to say that her daughter was missing. At that point, the FBI and the local tribal police started a search. And so for the next 2 days, they searched the reservation and surrounding areas around, I believe, one of the Great Lakes. And so from this time of June 16th, 2020, when she was last seen, the searches went till June 20th, just a couple of days later. Around July 22nd, there was a press conference, and a lady named Joan Delabar, who was the chair and advocate for missing persons and unsolved cases, spoke about this case. And so they were reaching out to the public for information. What things kind of still went on for about the next year were some, family members that were actively, talking about it through social media, through their own searching. And then on March 17th of 2021, some human remains were found on the reservation. On March 22nd, there was an identification that the remains were of Caitlin Kelly. And so as of June 17th, which was the last report that we could find, they were still, the FBI and the tribal police were still investigating the case, but it still remains unsolved. And so looking a little bit further, her mom, Michelle, who was on a mission, if you will, to bring justice and to find who was responsible for this, sadly passed this past March 30th. And so there are still family members that continue to share her story, and other Indigenous people that are missing, and cases that remain unsolved. It's interesting, Debbie, because it's like there's this like energy of silence around it. It's like, why just for a couple days there's this like energy of like search, and to me, I can't get past that lack of conversation and the like I don't want to say publicity, but the attention around it. And yeah, I guess publicity in the news and in the papers and in the, why does it just go so quiet? It doesn't seem like.
And I think, Kevin, that that's one of the things that she keeps bringing in. We can't be silent. The more you're silent, it gets pushed under the rug and stuff like that. And you know what happens to that? It's just kind of like unseen, not happening, didn't happen. And then we get, we get concerned about talking about it.
Right.
There's so many levels to not talking. And she said, she's like, F all that.
Yeah.
It needs to be, we need to continue. We can't be silent anymore. We can't be silent.
Well, the fact is that Indigenous people are disproportionately going missing and or murdered in North America. And so this like epidemic, this crisis is real. And so we have to get past, I don't know what it is for people in the discomfort of like bringing this awareness and being in the conversation and recognizing that we can't be silent. We have to be in the uproar, and that's a call to humans, you know what I mean, across the globe, is that we see these disproportionate tragedies, and in that targeting, we have to come out and we have to be a part of that voice to make the change. And so that's our intention, is that we just keep the conversation going till this is no longer.
Yeah, and we can. So apparently what I'm getting here is that people in the tribes and in these areas and with these the Indigenous crisis here, with them being murdered, taken, missing, that those who have tried to speak up are afraid to be silenced forever, so to speak. So there's some of that too. She's showing me layers here of why it goes silent, but we can't be silent. And so I feel like that's why she's like, I'm reaching out to people who can can continue to speak up and keep and get this word out. But there's fear involved here. There's some fear I'm feeling.
Yeah, it is. There is that fear component, and it's like there is this urgency, and with her energy, I can feel that. Where I guess that's the
Let's see.
and I go back to that word excitement, and it's just like her excitement for the energy to build and be the momentum. It's like this call to action for all of us to, like, why aren't we demanding that they spend more time and energy
Right.
and resources on like solving this? You know,
Yeah.
they shouldn't go cold as far as the work that's being done. And maybe that's my ignorance of not knowing that behind the scenes, these things maybe still are going. I don't know, but I don't think in some cases they are, and that's not okay. And so
She's saying, yeah, follow the breadcrumbs. I mean, even if she understands that she was found, but it shouldn't stop them from following the breadcrumbs of that, because it would help with other cases. It's all connected. They're connected.
Yeah, it's like there's no, I don't know this for fact, but she's saying that like even in my own backyard, I'm not the first in my own backyard. And so like there's this energy of collective, and it's predominantly female. That's the thing here. It's predominantly female.
Yes.
And so there's that aspect of it. And so there is this call to action to I just have to say what I have to say. I feel this case is solvable. This case is solvable, and there's people that know. It's like there's information that it's like, why did they not like see this in the way that they should have seen this in this like I don't know that I don't know if they got information brought forward to them, but there's it's like the information is there, is what she makes me feel that this is in my feeling of it, there's such frustration that comes up because of the oversight and the overlook of some of the details that were there. Do you get that sense, Debbie, that it's solvable?
I do.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why she was urgent when she tapped on our shoulder about it, and that there was others to save. And so do you want me to go ahead and kind of just go through some of the things that she's showing me here?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'm hearing here is other people saw this the car.
Yeah.
And so there's that evidence. Other people saw it, they know, right? So
well, Debbie, can I pause you in that? Do you remember one of the things that I got was the license plate number? And that was before we had read this case. As we tuned in, before we even went to the full like where we went with it, they gave me a string of numbers, not and I'm just piecing that together now. You're right about that.
yeah.
There is an awareness about that vehicle, and it was seen by, oh,
Yeah.
keep going with that.
Yeah. So there's that. I also feel like they know, they have more information. Like you said, I feel like there's people connected. And it's almost like the same way we're like, well, they have all this information on 45, but it's hard because it's unprecedented. It's he's high up, he's ranking high, so it's not as simple to go in and take the top dog out, right? So you can continue to take out the ants below, but until you take care of this, you're gonna just take the ants out, and you're just spinning your wheels down here. You really need to get the big cause up here. I don't know if I've described that properly. So there's something with that energy.
Mm.
Because if you're dealing with some kind of ring of people, right? So you can take as many out of the little people in the ring, but it doesn't get you to you need to get to that, you need to get in, right? You know what I mean? Okay. So she is connecting that. What she wants to show me is this information I feel is important. So if there's someone listening or whatever, this is underground. So, and what I mean is like literally,
Mm.
she's showing me that it is a little off the beaten trail. So she would have been taken out of the car at some point. So they would have driven to out of area, right? Out of off the like away from civilization. So I don't see houses, I don't see anything. I just feel like it's out in the middle, kind of nowhere.
Yeah, and I got really dizzy right there. I feel like she's already altered um, in the awareness of kind of, I know what's happening, but there's something
Right.
it's fuzzy. Mhm.
Okay. So once you get to a certain spot, you get out of the car. So she's showing me getting out of the car, and she having to walk.
Mm.
And at this point, I don't see that she even has shoes on. But she is
Well, that's interesting because she was last seen wearing flip-flops.
okay.
So, I mean, that's very likely.
Okay, so she's not, I don't see that she's blindfolded, but I do see her hands. She doesn't have use of her hands. And they are walking, and at this point is when she reminded me of the Trail of Angels.
Mm.
The Trail of Angels, and they get to a place where it is a large metal, and you lift it up. But if you're just walking, you wouldn't see it because it just fits in with the ground. Like you can't see it. So she's showing, and you're walking, and all of a sudden there's someone who's lifting up this thing in the ground. And that's where she goes. And
Wow.
that's good. So you can't see it. So this is important because she keeps showing it to me over and over again.
And just to validate, Debbie, that just before you said the Trail of Angels, I had doodled this winged. That's really curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering with this trail that somehow you can see that this is walked a lot, even though when you look out, you wouldn't, there's no upper buildings. It would be where you lift up and you're going down in the ground.
I pulled a card, and this one's really interesting. It's the Trust card. It almost feels like there's some familiarity with either the people or like the people, the area, in that it's like trust in the sense of like it's not so out of the ordinary. You know what I mean? Until like I'm being restrained, and really it's like there was like this initial kind of like because I keep hearing conversation. And so it's like this
So okay,
initial,
so I'm getting the chills on that too.
yeah,
So
it's like there's
whoever
something
came
where,
to her door for her to open her door, she would have known them. And that's where that layer comes from, where they know there's people who are involved that you would be familiar with in the town.
so great. I mean, I have to show these cards. I had pulled them a minute ago, the asking for guidance. And I feel that's what is happening here. And the success card and what she wants people to know. And this is something I'm going to go back. I checked in a couple times. And Debbie, as we were tuning into this initially, and then when we revisited this last week, we sensed her energy had changed just by some of the conversation that we had had. We had noticed this shift in her energetically, and the card that comes through is that she is at peace, and knowing that she's not in the upset and the turmoil, although she's wanting to make change from the other side, she is at peace with this. And I think that that's really important, as well as the energy to be in this conversation. I'm stuck in that underground, Debbie.
Yeah, okay.
I'm stuck
Before
in
we
that.
go back, before we get to that underground spot, she does want, she's bringing up the name Charlie. Charlie, what are you doing here? Charlie. When you were talking about familiar, she's using the name, Charlie, what? So, do you want to see if we can get some more on that?
Yeah, that's curious to me. It's like that common name.
It is kind of common, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've never heard it. I mean, it's not one I get. My common name is Joe. So, but Charlie is a different one for me. So if she would have said, Joe, what are you doing? I would think, oh, that's common. But Charlie for me is not. I do feel he does have a shorter nickname that people would call him. I feel like it starts with a K. It maybe a nickname that everybody's given him, like one that I wouldn't understand, maybe in a different language, like a 3-letter type of nickname.
I feel like I'm in my young 30s.
Okay.
Like 30s ish. I just feel like when I look at, and I do see a couple of people, I don't just see one person, but when I look, it's like there is some familiarity, whether just in passing, I've seen you before.
Okay.
There's some familiarity.
Okay. I don't know, has Charlie been drinking again? See, I don't know if some of these are metaphors that she's giving, so we can kind of figure it out, because because I almost feel like he wasn't a drinker at all. So, but there's something here. Okay. All right, Caitlin. I don't know if he's part of the missing piece that you felt like it's right in front of everybody's face.
Mm.
Or like that, if it's a person and if that's him. She wants also us to know that her fear, she used that energy and turned it into anger.
Mm.
So when she was in this place, whenever fear was going to overtake her, she shifted it into anger. She was angry and what she was seeing and what she was experiencing, of course. But when it was towards her, you're more in the fear and the submissiveness of what is happening to you. But when she saw whom she calls her sisters, that's it turned to anger.
Mm.
And the ability to think more clearly, and trying to help and save and do those types of things.
Yeah. And I just heard to pull another card, and I mean, it's powerful. It's the purification, which is the fire. And that's that energy of anger. And it's the bare essentials, the naked truth, wholeness. And so, in that, there is this fire and anger of not allowing this to happen to yet another one in that. I also got, it's like, because I'm at that door and it's like there's one to begin with, so it's like just it's not intimidating in that sense. But then I see one of three, this energy of Charlie, and then it's like one of three, and there's a D name and an F name that's also connected. And in this whole little section, mom steps in. It's interesting that mom steps into this. So it's like her involvement is also, yeah, I feel like she was close. I feel like in her effort to really bring justice, that she was close. And it's like this, she had all of this, and it's like, it's just not being like, I don't know. It's like, what, like, I go to that frustration of it's like I have all of this, and yet it's like I'm not feeling like I'm being heard, or they're not like acting on this, and
yeah. It,
Debbie, we all have to look at this, but I feel like there's a recent one
okay.
that just occurred, because she's like, and it just happened again, which I don't know. We all have to.
Okay.
We'll put that in the description.
Okay. I feel like, with this underground thing, it's not mobile, right? So they're not moving it. It's in the same spot.
Yeah.
So the ability to escape an underground bunker type situation is impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be the fear and the failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how she was just trying to gain any type of semblance of
Mhm.
power over self in regards to standing up for her sisters.
When you say sisters too, I feel like there's a sister energy with her, and I don't know if this is like a like best friend or actual sister, as well as the community that she's referring to as her sisterhood or the sisters. But it's interesting because it's like I'm like, is this an interview? Is this a podcast? I can hear them talking about it, and that what's being spoken. She's like, focus on that. That there's already information there that has been spoken and made public. That it's like it's on deaf ear. It's like they're not here, like they didn't hear it, or that the right people didn't hear it, or they didn't do the like. I don't know. There's something where it's like dark on it, but it's like, oh, which brings that like this is a solvable case. This is
There's something to do with money and going back to greed. It just greed is an epidemic. She also said that due to her energy of anger, her time there was shortened. And but for her, it was better that way, in that either you are sitting there watching your sisters suffer and doing nothing in fear, because of fear, or you step out in honor and stand up for your sister. So and she's not saying, she understands that everybody, and she saw it, I mean, she was in it, everybody responds differently to this amount of fear and oppression and terror and violence. So she's not holding it, but for her, that's how she had to be.
You know what's interesting about that, Debbie, is that she's saying that the fear still remains with some people, and the reason that there is fear is when you know this and you expose that, who actually comes to light
Right.
in it. So there's that part of it where,
so that's interesting. So maybe that's why she's bringing this up.
yeah,
It's because, okay,
who it exposes. And sometimes in that, it's like there are people that will just to not expose, like who has hand in this type of organization.
And that gives me the chills. And that's why
Yeah.
she's sharing that even when she was experiencing it, she had to honor
Yeah.
herself and try to do whatever she could to protect her sisters. And I think she's making that plea to whoever could hear this, that knows something, to honor that and to stand up for the sisters.
Yeah. I just heard to pull another card, and it's the Tree of Life card, which is about fertility. And so in that growth, it's like oh, it's the number one card. That makes sense. There's this oneness in it. So coming together in that, it's like all of the branches and all of the leaves are all of the sisters that are a part of those the Trail of Angels. And so, yeah. What's interesting too, Debbie, is that she comes through with this how we would interpret or feel forgiveness in it. You know, she has gone, you know, to the light and is in that place of oneness where, you know, she's no longer in that fear or upset. And so she wants us to be in this forgiveness. And it's like we can change what's going forward, and we can do that now. And so that does affect in both directions. So the ones from past will be remembered and be honored as they should be. So, oh yeah, in the right direction. We're in the right direction towards that change. And that's community. I mean, this comes from community, and there is that stepping past the fear part in order to make these changes, to bring down that barrier and to shed the light, to shine the light.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't know how much to kind of like
Mhm.
they're on here.
Yeah.
But
I'll
I do,
pause now. I got
okay,
I got a hit on like
okay,
the FBI is.
okay, yeah, so that's where I was looking as
I was
well.
like, I can't, I'm like, I'm going to play this safe on just like who it's going to bring to light.
Okay,
This is
okay,
just not, she's not just focusing on this single case. It's like, this is global. And the
right,
people
so
sometimes that,
do you want to pause for a second and we can debrief before sharing? And then we'll decide
yeah.
what to bring forth. Okay, so we're back. And we did discuss it and shared notes on what was coming in regards to those involved in this at different levels. And we feel it's a little bit more delicate than we would want to share on a video on YouTube. So this information we have, but we're gonna kind of keep it here. But letting Caitlin know that we have this information, and that's kind of what she wanted. And and we see, we hear, and we have this information. So yeah, sorry guys. I didn't realize that she was going to take us white there.
Yeah.
And so I do feel like what she did bring through kind of a little bit of more, we were saying a little bit of Morse code there. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting it'll be interesting to moving forward on this.
Yeah.
And I'm getting pressure in my head on this as
Yeah.
well. So, okay. The main thing she wants us to know, what wants our family here that are watching to know is, please keep talking about
Mhm.
Indigenous women and the danger. And it's not just her area.
Mm.
Um,
It's okay to make noise.
it's
It's
okay to make
yeah,
noise,
yeah,
bring light,
yes,
because
yeah,
we can.
yeah. And if anybody else has a view or someone that you know wants to be a part of this conversation, if you have a personal experience that you want us to be in the conversation with you, do reach out to Debbie or myself to arrange that. We would be honored to do that. So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like this one, and it should be, it's to be continued in that the conversation.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, let's get that momentum building
Okay.
so that we can be the change and we can do that together.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like we'll continue on with Caitlin, and I feel like she has others that she'll bring to us
Yeah,
as well. Again, her leader spirit continues
yeah.
on the other side here. Hmm. Beautiful.
Mhm. I could see her and her mom just in that reunion. Yeah, being
Yeah.
together. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Debbie.
Yes. Thank you, Kevin,
Yeah.
and blessings, everyone, and continue to pray. Send those intentions in regards to this whole issue of missing and the missing and the murdered
Yeah.
unsolved cases. Blessings to you all.
All right. Bye, everyone. Keep the healing alive. Bye for now.